My mother-in-law secretly hid my daughter's passport so she'd miss the dream vacation we'd saved for, then looked me in the eye and said, "Relax, Hannah. Call it tuition and respect." That sentence broke something in me. My 9-year-old Lily stood there shaking, clutching an empty passport case while airport strangers stared like she was some spoiled kid who lost her papers. Behind us, Marlene smirked. Jason, my husband, just shut down. His sister Courtney muttered, "You're really going to waste those tickets over her tantrum?" If this were you at the check-in counter, what would you do? Walk away? Scream? Freeze? Tell me in the comments. And if you want the rest, tap like and subscribe. Because this is where the war really started. You know how people always say, when you marry someone, you marry their family? I used to roll my eyes at that. Now I think it should come with a giant warning label in flashing red letters. When I first met Jason's family, I thought I was just stepping into a slightly awkward dinner. I didn't realize I was walking into a system that had been training him since childhood to put his needs last and his mother's ego first. The first night at their house still lives in my head like a bad movie. Marlene opened the door like she was auditioning for Most Put Upon Woman in America. She gave Jason this dramatic hug, squealed over seeing his sister, Courtney, and then looked at me like I was the DoorDash driver who rang the bell too hard. I introduced myself and she actually said, "Oh, right, the girlfriend." Then turned back to telling Courtney how stunning her new haircut was. I could have said my name was Couch Cushion and gotten the same reaction. Jason's dad, Leonard, shook my hand like he was reluctantly touching a wet sponge, then immediately turned back to ask Jason if he'd been rotating his tires. Not "how are you," not "we're so happy to meet you." Just car maintenance. I stood there in the entryway holding a casserole dish, realizing very quickly I was not there to be welcomed. I was there to witness the Marlene and Courtney show. All dinner long, Marlene bragged about Courtney, her promotion, her natural leadership, her sensitive soul. When Jason tried to talk about a project at work, Marlene cut him off mid-sentence with, "That's nice, honey." Anyway, Court just has so much on her shoulders. You know how special she is. Jason shrank a little every time. Shoulders in, voice softer, like muscle memory of being told he mattered less. I didn't understand it that night, but later when we were engaged, I started asking questions. Little things he'd say would stick in my head, like the time he mentioned missing a big concert as a kid because there was only one ticket. Marlene told him, "Courtney will appreciate it more. You're easy. You understand." He stayed home mowing the lawn while his sister got the night of her life. He was 8. He told that story like it was funny. I wanted to cry. That's when it hit me. Jason wasn't naturally quiet and low maintenance. He'd been trained to believe his wants were optional, and Marlene? She loved that. It meant she could lean on him forever and call it family loyalty. Over time, her requests started sounding less like favors and more like invoices. "Can you spot us the electric bill? Just this month, we're a little tight. Your dad's prescription is so expensive, could you help? The landlord raised the rent again. This place is killing us." Always with the same sigh, the same shaky smile, the same script. You know we'd do the same for you. If you've ever had someone weaponize guilt like that, you know exactly how fast it adds up. And if you've ever watched the person you love look genuinely afraid to say no to their own mother, hit like or drop a comment. Because that's where I was standing, right in the middle of a family pattern I didn't create but was absolutely getting crushed under. By the time Lily was old enough to really talk, I knew she wasn't like the kids Marlene expected. Lily feels everything. Loud rooms, scratchy tags, surprise hugs from people she barely knows. It all hits her system like static. So Jason and I made one rule non-negotiable. Your body is yours. You can say no, even to family. Honestly, part of that rule was for him too. He never got to say no growing up. At first, it was small stuff. At birthdays or holidays, Lily would sometimes tuck herself behind my leg when Marlene swooped in with those stiff, perfume-heavy hugs. Marlene would freeze, her smile cracking for half a second before she'd paste it back on and say, a little too loudly, "Wow, kids these days, no manners." Lily would whisper, "No, thank you," like we'd practiced. I'd back her up. She's allowed to say no. Marlene would roll her eyes. You're raising her to be weak, Hannah. The world isn't going to cuddle her. That line stuck to my ribs. The world isn't going to cuddle her. As if basic respect was some kind of luxury, not the bare minimum. As Lily got older, the tension grew. Our therapist had helped us give Lily tools: deep breaths, clear choices. You can high five, wave, or hug. You pick. Everyone else in our circle respected that. Marlene treated it like a personal attack. If Lily declined a hug, Marlene would sulk the rest of the visit. She'd gush over Courtney's boys, pile them with praise, then look at Lily and say things like, maybe when you're older, you'll learn how to be sweet. Tell me that doesn't make your blood boil. And then came the passport. We'd been planning that Cancun trip for months. 5 months of saving, hunting for deals, letting Lily watch videos of the beach and the resort pools. She packed and repacked her little suitcase a dozen times. Every night she'd ask, how many more sleeps until my first airplane? She even practiced handing over her passport like some miniature business traveler. She was so proud. The morning of the flight, everything felt normal. Chaotic, but normal. We got to the airport, bags in tow, family in a cluster. Lily clutched her passport case like it was treasure. When we reached the counter, she stood on her toes, slid it toward the agent, turned to me with this excited little grin, and then froze. The case was empty. I watched her face crumble in real time. Mom, she whispered, voice shaking. It was in there. I put it in, I promise. We tore apart her backpack, my purse, jacket pockets. Nothing. People behind us started sighing. The agent's pitying smile felt like a slap. I'm sorry, but without a passport, she can't board. Lily started sobbing. That ugly, hiccuping cry kids do when they think the world is ending and it's their fault. I wrapped my arms around her while she choked out, I didn't lose it, I swear, I didn't. And then, from behind me, I heard Marlene's voice, smooth as poison. Well, maybe this will teach her not to be so careless. In that moment, I almost turned around and screamed. Instead, I said, not now, Marlene. She sniffed. I'm just saying, actions have consequences. Jason's sister, Courtney, didn't even look up from her phone. So we're just not going because she misplaced something? Lily heard every word. She clung to me like she was trying to disappear. If this part makes you angry, imagine living it in real time. I took Lily home. I missed the flight on purpose. I wasn't leaving my 9-year-old alone just so a bunch of adults could drink margaritas. Later, when we saw the photo of her passport sitting with Marlene's stuff, when Marlene admitted she took it as a lesson, that's when something inside me snapped. And if you think that's already too far, wait until you hear what we did next. Stay with me and tell me in the comments, at what point would you have cut her off? After the passport truth came out, our house went eerily quiet. Not peaceful, more like that strange electric silence before a storm hits. Jason and I didn't sit down and draw up some big battle plan. We just moved. His trauma, my anger, all of it finally lined up in one direction. He opened the banking app at the kitchen table like it was a live grenade. That emergency credit card Marlene had been using, the one that somehow covered weekly takeout, gas, and random Amazon boxes. He stared at it for a second, then whispered, I'm done being their backup plan. His thumb hit, remove authorized users. First her name disappeared, then Leonard's, then Courtney's husband's. It felt like watching leeches fall off. Next came the phone plan. 2 extra lines, 2 extra monthly bills. Jason scrolled, found their numbers, and hit disconnect. The little pop-up asked, are you sure? He actually laughed, this tired, broken little laugh. Yeah, he said softly. I'm sure. If you've ever cut someone off and felt that mix of terror and relief, you know exactly what that laugh sounds like. While he did that, I sat down with my laptop and wrote the coldest email of my life. No essays, no begging them to understand. Just boundaries. We will no longer provide any financial support. The condo will be sold. You have 60 days to find new housing. There will be no unsupervised contact with Lily. This decision is final. I didn't write. Because you stole my child's passport to punish a 9-year-old for not hugging you, I didn't have to. They knew. Then Jason called the realtor. We're ready to list the condo, he said, voice steady. Not one apology in it. That was new. For the first time, he sounded like a man picking his daughter over his mother and not feeling guilty about it. Marlene's response? Pure panic. First text, the hotel says the card isn't working. Fix it. Second, why is my phone saying service will end? Third, what's this about showings? We're not moving. Not one word about Lily, not a single, how is she? Just the sound of her lifestyle slipping away. The next morning, she went full soap opera on Facebook. After everything we've sacrificed, our own son is throwing us out. Please pray for us. Gray filter on a picture of the condo, like the building was dying. Older relatives slid into our inbox with lectures. One cousin actually wrote, be grateful they disciplined her instead of calling CPS. That one nearly made me throw my phone across the room. We didn't respond with a rant. We responded with math. Jason dropped a message in the family group. Before you decide, here's what we've paid on their behalf for the last 4.5 years. Then line after line. Mortgage, condo fees, utilities, phone lines, credit card charges, temporary transfers. At the bottom, total, approximately $80,000. No commentary, just the number. Within 30 minutes, the tone flipped. I had no idea. They told us you barely helped. $80,000? That's not support, that's full-time sponsorship. Even the CPS cousin backed off and apologized. Marlene's victim story died the moment the receipts hit the group chat. Meanwhile, our lawyer's letter landed in Marlene's inbox. No tenant rights, required to allow showings, legal consequences if they interfered. Suddenly, the realtor's texts changed. They opened the door, no theatrics. They sat quietly while I showed the place. It's amazing how fast people respect no when it comes with legal letterhead. 6 months later, the condo sold for a little over $400,000. We closed, paid what needed paying, and cut the last financial rope tying us to them. Marlene and Leonard moved into a small rental way out of town. Their old friends stopped visiting once the truth about the passport leaked. Even Courtney barely goes out there now. She says it's too far, but distance isn't just miles, it's accountability. Lily, though, she's different in the best way. She says no thank you like someone who believes adults will back her up. She doesn't flinch at her own boundaries anymore. We booked a new trip, somewhere she chose. Warm, she said, but not where Grandma went. That felt like closure. If you're still watching or listening right now, tell me in the comments. Did we go too far or not far enough? And if you've ever had to pick your child's safety over keeping the peace, share this with someone who needs to hear that walking away doesn't make you cruel. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stop financing your own misery. So now here we are. Lily sleeps better. Jason stands taller. Our house is quieter, but it's a peaceful quiet, not that tense, walking on eggshells silence we used to live in. Marlene still plays the victim from a distance, but for the first time in a long time. It's not our problem to fix. And yet, if I'm honest, there are nights I lie awake and replay everything. The condo, the money, the phone lines, the passport, her face at my door, and I still find myself asking, am I in the wrong? Did I go too far? Or did I finally go just far enough? Here's the lesson I've had to swallow. Protecting your child will almost always look disrespectful to the people who benefited from you having no boundaries. You can't make everyone happy and keep your kids safe at the same time. If I have to choose who sleeps better at night, my manipulative mother-in-law or my 9-year-old daughter, I'm choosing my daughter every single time. If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Drop a comment because I really want to hear your take. And if this hit a nerve, hit like, share it with someone who needs courage, and subscribe so you don't miss what happened after we cut them off.